Hello, friends. Welcome to Intuitive Encounters Conversations. I'm Jamie Roth, and today I am joined by Kindra Lidge, CEO of 1831 Speaks. Kindra is an author, motivational speaker, mental health advocate, and nurse certified in trauma-informed care. She brings her unique voice to diverse audiences and walking with women as they heal through trauma. Her ability to weave stories from a lifetime of experiences makes her talks feel intimate, like one-on-one conversations, no matter how many people are listening. And we're really blessed because she's going to join us at the Freedom Era Summit at the end of September. And Kendra will be presenting Self-Love, Rewiring Your Mind to Feel Worthy. Today, we're going to dive into why self-love can feel so elusive and how our learned thinking has shaped that struggle and what it takes to reprogram the mind to make worthiness a natural state. Welcome, Kendra. I'm so happy to have you here today.
My goodness, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I'm
You're
so excited
welcome.
about the upcoming summit.
Yay! So that's in 2 weeks. That's yeah, in about 2 weeks. September 26th, 27th, 28th. That's very exciting. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But one of the things I'm curious about is you've walked so many paths. I mean, your introduction is like you're this, you're this, you're this. You're a nurse, an author, an advocate, a speaker. So what do you feel called you into the work of helping others rediscover their worth?
Rediscovering my own worth.
Oh,
I've been through many different traumas. I was sexually assaulted, and finding my way back was such a treacherous journey because I had no direction. There was no map. There was no, this is how you do it, point A, point B. And when I was finally able to come through it, or just coming out of it, I realized I wanted to be able to go back and help people come through it easier than what I did.
yeah. I think that's very common for us helpers, healers, whatever you want to call us, that, we've walked through that fire and then we have this inspiration to help others.
Yeah.
So your session is all about self-love. Why do you think something that sounds so simple can actually be so difficult in practice?
Because this generation is not about self. We're not raised to be about self. And I won't even say this generation, just people in general. It's all about take care of others, what you can do for others. We were raised do unto others,
Hmm.
and we never really stop and think about ourselves and how it's not until so much later in life you start realizing that you're pouring from an empty cup
Hmm.
and you can't pour from an empty cup. So I think just the way we're ingrained, even as children, that we don't put ourselves first. And I don't think it's done intentionally or maliciously. It's just kind of the way it is. And by the time you realize it, it's ingrained, it's in your mind, it's how
It's
you go.
your
So,
It's your inner
exactly.
narrative. Yeah, there's a lot of self-sacrifice we're taught. And also, I was thinking while you were talking about the narrative of just let others be how they are and accept them, even if it's toxic to you. Like, oh, well, that's your mom. So no matter how toxic she is to you, you just need to deal with it. And self-sacrifice is where I was going back to with that. Do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it becomes, again, like woven into you.
Mhm.
And not being able to speak up for yourself to just keep the peace.
Mhm.
So if something's bothering you, you don't say it, you just go along and you just keep the peace. And little by little, that really like kills your inner person
Right.
and makes self-love very elusive because when you're fully loving yourself, you stand up for yourself the way you would for someone else that you love. If
Right.
you see someone doing something wrong to someone you love, you immediately get that little crick in your back and you're ready to stand up and go to war for them. You're not going to mistreat them, but we won't do that for our own selves.
Right. So it's interesting you say you feel like we are not taught to self-love because I've been hearing so much that some of these, I'm considered Xennial, Gen X, whatever. But I actually keep hearing this like negativity towards like millennials and really even the Gen Zers that they're very self-absorbed, that they have actually become a generation that is very self-involved and into self-care. Are you seeing that at all within the different generations? So when you say we're not, do you sort of mean all of us
Yeah,
as
I'm
humans
thinking all of us
collectively?
on a broader range. I
Yeah,
can say I can see the self-absorption, but I look at that very differently from self-love
right.
because self-absorbed is it's all about me, no one else matters. Whereas self-love
Individuality.
is I'm taking care of me first and a better version of me will be able to help those around me as well after I make sure I'm good. So the better I am for myself, the better I can be for others. And I feel like that's more of the self-love as opposed to the self-absorbed that we might be seeing with this generation.
Okay, that's great clarity. I actually agree with you. Thank you for sharing that. And this self-love, the same thing as self-care?
I think they can go hand in hand.
Hmm.
Self-care is very important, and I think it's more a part of it because when you're fully loving yourself, you want to care for yourself.
Hmm.
Whereas, so I feel like self-love is the umbrella, self-care is one of the steps
Okay.
in it that gets you to the point of fully loving yourself.
Okay.
Because, like I said, when you look at it, like you care for someone else because you love them. So
Hmm.
you care for yourself because you love yourself.
Hmm.
So definitely for the manicures, pedicures, and the bubble baths.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
I think that's a really important thing to understand that self-care is a piece of self-love, but there's so much more to self-love. And maybe you've kind of already said it, but could you sort of condense into, do you have a definition of self-love? Or do you have sort of a phrase, like how do we define this? We can define it right now together. If it's not self-care, self-care is a piece of it. Would it be something like feeling a worthiness? I'm trying to extract the part that it's not about individuality. Like I think we were saying that generationally, some of the generations are showing such a sense of individuality of just like, I gotta get mine, I gotta be about me, and it feels a little selfish or self-absorbed. So it's not that, and it's not self-care. But I feel
I
like
Go ahead, go ahead.
I just feel like I'm hearing you say, I do think there's something about putting self first. I don't know. You're the expert, so you tell
Oh,
me.
that's what I love that. Okay, so for me, really, when I think about self-love, I don't know if I could come up with the perfect way
Right.
to give it a definition. But for me, I have this best friend. Her name is Tanya. And when I'm struggling with self-love, I think to myself, what would I do for Tanya? What is the love that I have? What would I do if I were Tanya in this situation and she were me? What would I do for Tanya? And that's what I do for myself. So it's almost like defining self-love. What would you do for your best friend?
Yeah. Or I feel like you could even flip it, remind yourself, what would Tanya do for me right now if she was here in person?
Yeah,
What would
yeah.
she
So
do
it's
for
like,
me? I saw this TikTok not long ago that I just thought was so sweet, and it just said, when your best friend won't take no, I want to be alone for an answer. And so one lady opens up the door, and she's obviously the lady that's not in a very good space. And she opens up the door. Her best friend's there with like a bag of Taco Bell, a Sprite, and she looks at her and she goes, they don't have Mountain Dew. And they both just literally like stared at each other for a minute. And then the lady just opened the door and the lady walked in like, okay, here we are. Like it, and obviously I'm sure the best friend knew if that person really, really wanted to be alone, she would let her be alone and give her space. But it was very obvious that the TikTok was about when someone loves you so much and they know you, they're gonna show up type
yeah,
of thing. And
yeah,
I've just seen it
yeah.
several times and I just love it. And so
I
kind
love
of feel
that.
like that's what you're saying is what would you do for your best friend? Or what would your best friend do for you in this
Do for
moment?
you in the
If you were
moment.
your own, what if it's like, what if
You're
you
your
were your
own
own
best
best
friend.
friend?
Oh, I love that. You can put that on a t-shirt. I'm my own best friend.
Yeah.
But
I'm
then Tanya's gonna want to fight me because she says she's the only one that's allowed to be my best friend. So
okay.
if I'm being my best friend,
That's
I
fair.
have to.
That's fair. That's fair. That sounds like soul sister love right there.
Man, I just really quickly, when you were saying they didn't have Mountain Dew, that completely reminds me, I'm absolutely in love with root beer, and Tanya knows this.
Uh-huh.
And when I had my book launch party about a year ago now, I was like stressed and I was freaking out. And she had traveled all the way from Dallas to Houston to be there for me, which is a feat because she has MS and she's in a wheelchair and all the things.
Oh,
And so
wow.
she's there and she's, like holding me and calming me. And like out of nowhere, she pulls out this bag that's like a refrigerated bag and it's got like 12 root beers in it. And
Oh,
she's like, I've got this. We're going to get through this. And I was just like, thank you. So
you,
like anytime
me,
I
and
be
some root
freaking out,
beer.
yeah, anytime I'm freaking out, she rides by with the root beer and she's like, here you go.
Oh, I love
That's how my
that.
feeling.
Well, I think then what I'm hearing is we all need to be a Tanya to ourselves.
Man, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the definition of
That is the
self-love.
definition of self-love. Be your own Tanya. Bring the root beer. Drive across the states and bring the root beer. Be your own Tanya. I love that. That's so great. Um, so yeah, I do. I'm hearing you, and I think it's really about prioritizing yourself, making yourself feel important and important because you are important. Do I have that right? You are.
Yes.
Yeah.
So important. Like there's and this is the part where it sounds selfish and you have to get it out of your mind that it's selfish, but there's no one more important than you.
Right.
Now,
There's a
don't get me
lot
wrong.
of there's a
Go
lot
ahead.
of people that are going to hear that and go, dude.
Yeah, because it even felt that way when I said it. But here's the thing: how can you be for anyone else if you're not for yourself?
Yeah.
If how can I be good for anyone else if I'm not taking care of myself? If I'm sick and I don't take care of myself because I'm so busy running around for everybody else, it's not going to be long before I'm useless to everybody, including myself.
Right.
So that in that sense, that's what I mean when I say you're most important.
Yeah. And I'd even add on to that you're important simply because you exist. I really believe that. It's not
Yes.
even about all the time about, being able to pour, from a full cup too. It's just about I do believe people are born with a birthright, which also can be a birthright to feel good and live a good life and
You're
take
born
care of
worthy.
themselves. Yeah. I do really, really believe that. And I know that that rubs some people wrong, especially if they have a lot of religious indoctrination like Christianity that tells them that you were born sinful or that you have to continue to prove yourself in order to be worthy. So I know that can be a rub. So I'm not going to get too much onto the religious aspect, but I do have a question from a trauma-informed perspective that you have. How does trauma impact a woman's ability to feel worthy?
Oh, whew.
Yeah,
One of the major words associated with trauma that I think most women feel is shame.
yeah,
And it's so horrible because the traumas that we go through are not our shame, but we carry them that way. And that shame leads to such a feeling of unworthiness.
I agree.
So it's very, very difficult to come out of that to realize that A, whatever happened is not your shame, you know. Um, for me, it's what was done to me was not my fault, had nothing to do with me, and I shouldn't carry it that way. And once I was able to actually fully grasp that, then I could lose the shame because why am I ashamed of something that I didn't cause, that
Right,
I had nothing to do with, I was a victim of.
right.
And once you can let go of that shame, then you can again start to feel worthy. Because you know what? When we're younger, when we're children, we're worthy, where the world is our oyster,
Mm-hmm.
and it's as we get older and things happen and things are told to us that we lose that insight that I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't have this, I don't have that, and that begins to devalue us and make us not feel worthy. So finding our way back, especially after trauma, is definitely one of those things that's reprogramming the mind to understand that A, that shame is not yours, and B, you were born worthy, and no one or no trauma can take that away.
Yeah. It reminds me of that saying, what is it? Something about like, isn't it strange that the people that go to therapy are going to heal from the people that hurt them, but the people that hurt them don't go to therapy to stop
Ooh,
hurting people? Something like that, you know? So
no,
like
no, that's
we have to
so
go to
beautiful.
therapy or do whatever to unblock this shame piece that was given to us, put upon us in whatever ways. Well, that person is not doing the same kind of work. It's
Yeah.
like a really
I tell you
mixed
what,
up.
though, when you can get those people that cause that shame to you to go to therapy, that
Yeah.
starts to break cycles.
Yeah. Yeah, it sure does. It sure does. Which I think is actually a beautiful thing as well of practicing self-love and healing your ancestral lineages and your generational
Mhm.
lineages moving forward. And then, oh gosh, there was something else I was going to say that you were speaking to so beautifully, and I've lost it. Oh well, I've lost it. Maybe it'll come back.
At like
So
2 o'clock in the morning.
yeah, I've actually been up since 3:30 working on the summit. So I'm
Have
an
you
early
had your
riser.
coffee? You
Yes,
probably had your coffee and
yes, I
mine.
have coffee. Multiple cups. Okay, so what is one simple practice women can start today? Just one to begin that rewiring process of your mind for self-love.
Ooh, and this one's my favorite, and it's so easy. Affirmations.
Okay.
Affirmations, just getting in the mirror and telling yourself, I'm beautiful, I'm smart. And you may not even believe it when you first start to do it, but the more you do it and the more you hear it, and it gets into your mind and it starts to rewire, then you will actually start to see situations where you're like, hey, I am beautiful, or I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah.
So it's like you're putting your brain on alert to look for these things to prove to yourself what you're saying.
Right.
And so I feel like that's the easiest and best way to start. Just in the morning when you're brushing your teeth and you're doing your morning hygiene routine, just a
Mhm.
couple of different affirmations in the mirror in areas where you feel like you're not your strongest. So if you don't feel like you're the prettiest in the room or the smartest or any of those things, just start by looking yourself in your eyes in the mirror and telling yourself, I am these
Yeah.
things, or I'm not
Yeah.
these things that you may have been told. But
Yeah.
affirmations is an easy and great way to start.
Yeah, I'm actually a really big fan of affirmations. I've used them successfully for myself, my clients, my children. But what do you say to people who it does feel disingenuous usually? I mean, if you're coming from a narrative of I'm not beautiful, I'm ugly, or I'm to this, to that, or have this scar, or I'm dumb, or I'm lazy, like what do you tell women that you work with about moving past that barrier of it feeling disingenuous at first? Because I think that's pretty common.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, okay.
And what I mean by that is it's gonna feel very disingenuous at first
hmm
because you completely don't feel beautiful.
hmm
But like I said, you're putting your brain on alert when you start these affirmations to start to point out to you
hmm
where these things do and are happening. So I went through a spell not too long ago where I had got so involved in the care of someone else that I felt like I completely lost myself. And a friend of mine pointed out to me, like, hey, like you seem lost. You don't seem like yourself. You just seem like you're existing right now. And I was feeling like ugly at the time and I couldn't understand. Like I'm looking in the mirror, like what happened? Like, did I put on weight? Is my face breaking out? Like what's going on? But once I made myself aware of it, that something was off and I started again with my affirmations, it wasn't like I changed my diet, I changed my makeup routine, but like a week later I got up and I got in the mirror and I was like, hey, I'm looking kind of pretty today.
Yeah.
And the only thing that changed was my mindset.
Mindset, and I'll offer that, everything is energy. And so there is an energetic vibration and frequency to everything you speak. And
Absolutely.
so, when you're speaking unkind, maybe even hateful things to yourself, whether they're in your brain or every time you look in the mirror, or is every time someone gives you a compliment and you dismiss it, push it away and go, oh, that has a vibrational frequency and things can make you look older. They can make you look haggard. You can tell when someone's been through a rough time recently, which I think is what you were describing. Like
Yeah.
you could just tell your vibrational frequency just tanks and it shows up in how you look and there's no glow. But so it works the opposite way when you're working with positive words, but I'd also say positive music.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and I feel like when it feels disingenuine, I'm pretty good with fake it till you make it too. And I know some people push back against that because there's some people, and I find it's typically neurodivergent people that struggle to be fake, right? It's just like not a part of their makeup to do that. That's
Yeah.
right. So they don't love that part. But rewiring those neural pathways isn't it about repetition too? So I feel like maybe listening to through music and stuff. Um,
Absolutely.
in fact, at the summit, we have Tony Jones, who is a global affirmation vocalist, doing a live presentation, and she's all about the affirmations. And I just put hers on and just listen to it. Where do you like write them down anywhere, your affirmations? Put them anywhere? Do you like put them in a note on your phone or
So when I'm really, really struggling with particular things, I write them on post-its and put them on my mirror in the
yeah,
morning. So even because sometimes when you get up in the morning, it's like, I'm barely human right now. So
yeah,
I may not remember first thing in the morning when you're trying to run through your morning routine, but if I see it, then I've made myself aware, oh,
yes,
okay, yes, yes,
yes.
that is true. That is what we're doing
Drawing
right
your
now. So
attention to it.
yeah, so post-its on the mirror for morning positivity.
I love that. I love
And
that.
it's a great way to start the day.
Yeah, I agree. So, if women were to embrace self-love, all of us women just collectively were like, you know what? fuck it, I'm worthy. I like emanate self-love. What ripple effects do you think it would create in our world? Because that's what the summit is about. It's about creating a massive ripple effect around the world with all of us experts and these freedom, these ways to live authentically and with unshakable self-worth. So you're offering the self-love presentation. And so if women, these thousands of women who are going to join us, embrace that, how do you think it will affect our world?
I think it's one of those things like a beautiful ripple effect because the thing is, when you start loving yourself, that radiates outwards. And it's one of the things that I mentioned in my presentation. It gives others the permission to love themselves.
Mhm.
And if I can love myself and you can love yourself genuinely, then I also feel like that's going to eliminate the competition between
Yeah.
us because now I'm just wanting what's best for me and I'm wanting what's best for you. And
Yes.
I feel like eliminating the competition, especially amongst women, where we can not be at each other, but be for each other. And
Yes.
in doing that, then we can all lift each other. I could only
Yes.
imagine how
Yes.
the world would be if, it wasn't stay in your own lane, where it was
Yes.
like, forget the lanes and
Yes.
let's all do this together and
Yes.
everybody win and
Yes.
everybody can have their space and their place. And we're all open for that because in loving ourselves, we can better love others. So I think
Yes.
that would be.
Well, I am already thinking of Tanya again because I'm envisioning that this is how she is. This is how I am with some of my best girlfriends and women friends in my life. And I think what is the summit is about as well. And that is about lifting each other up. But it's so much deeper than just saying nice things to each other. Like one of my favorite parts of my friendships that I just know you and Tanya do together is you can also share even when the other person is down. So, for example, I have suddenly got this frog in my throat. I'm not sure what it's about. Excuse me, I mean clear my throat so often. But here, I'll drink something. A little bit of self-care. Um,
There you go.
my friend was on vacation and honestly, she was having a terrible time. It was just one of those ones that did not turn out well. Her kids were sick, they were vomiting, pooping,
Oh,
miserable. So she was just stuck in this condo instead of being at the beach. Like, no fun. I had something really great happening in my life that same week, and she's one of my people to share with. And I knew that even though she was having a crappy week, pun intended, that I could still share with her, that she could still be there, not only to lift me up, but it would lift her up in her crappy time. Like she needed that good news because to know that I'm doing well made her feel so much better. And it's been vice versa. I only keep people close to me. I only keep women close to me that we can really have that relationship. And so I've had
absolutely.
the same thing happen where one time we were texting and I'm like, miserable, miserable, miserable. And she listened. She's like, I hear you. She validated, she confirmed, she shared compassion. And then she said, do you mind if I share something positive that happened for me? Because it's really, really important and I'd really like to share, even though you're having a hard time today. And I was like, hell yes, please do. And then she did. And it just like made me feel so good. Please, I know you and Tanya are like this. Come on.
Oh, absolutely. Perfect instance. So I said Tanya has MS, so a lot of things affect her differently.
Right.
And while I'm going through preparing for the summit and everything and getting my speech done and running it by her and everything, she gets COVID. And this is the first time that
Okay.
she's had COVID because of her MS, we've kept her like in a
Yeah.
bubble
Protected.
to keep
Right.
this away from her. So she gets it and it is like horrible. It has completely knocked her down and it's messing with some of the other treatments that she's able
Yes.
to get that keep her at her baseline. And
Right.
so she's like going through all that and she's like, my throat hurts and everything. And she's like, and I feel horrible, but I saw your video and it was so amazing and I'm so proud of you. And as
I
soon
got
as I get better,
chills.
I'm gonna watch it again. And I'm like, we don't even need to be focusing on that right now. Like,
Yeah.
go get your NyQuil. And she's like,
Yeah.
no, I just need to tell you, I'm so proud of you. And it was so inspiring. And so it's like, even in the midst of, and this is for both of us, in the midst of our stuff, when we see, our person doing well, we can't help but be excited
Yeah.
because the love and the cheer is genuine. And I could tell, like, just in her face and her eyes, she just lit up
Yeah.
with pride for me, even in the midst of COVID.
Yeah. Well, I knew it. I knew you'd have a story. That is the perfect story. And I think both of our stories are the perfect of what we say, what would be the ripple effect? The ripple effect of women loving themselves is being able to love each other even more. And then, wow, as collective, the collective of women around the world, what could we do? How could we be sovereign
Absolutely.
again and empowered again and not let any powers that be try to take over us or suppress us or oppress us? And I love it. And I'm just so happy to
Mhm.
have you here today. And I'm wondering, can you go ahead and let people know where they can find you? Obviously on the summit, but where can they find you outside of the summit? And we'll be having the links dropped below here on YouTube as well.
Okay, so I've got my website going. That's 1831speaks.com. And people always ask me really quickly, like, what does that mean? Where does
I
that
was
come
going
from?
to.
So Proverbs 18:31 says that life and death is in the tongue. And as a motivational speaker, I just like to always remind myself that I want to speak life. I want to speak positivity. And so that's where that came from. But yeah,
Love it.
1831speaks.com. You can find me on Facebook, Kindra Candy Lidge, author Kindra Lidge. That's my new Facebook link. And please come and check me out. I would love to meet and intermingle and
And
spread.
actually, we can't leave without talking about your book. You're a published author. I'm so sorry. We almost forgot. We just got going and it was so fun. So please tell us a little quick about your book, and people will hear more about it in the summit and in your session. But please let us know about it here today.
Yes, so my book is called Let the Healing Begin. You can find it on Amazon. It'll be Let the Healing Begin by Kindra Lidge. It tells the story of about a 6 month time of my life after I was sexually assaulted, sometime after I was sexually assaulted, and living with horrific PTSD and not even living, just existing, surviving. And I met a girl in the foster system who was also being sexually assaulted at the time, and I didn't know it. And so the story just tells our relationship, how we met, how we were able to be there for each other and start healing. There's some twists and some turns, but it's love and it ends with hope. So I definitely encourage you to check that out. Again, it's on Amazon and also on my webpage.
So it is nonfiction, or is it written fiction, but with a lot of truth into it?
Is so it's written from a dual point of view, my point of view and her point of view.
Okay.
So for that reason, it's more inspired by true events because
Okay.
I can't say exactly what was on her mind in each moment, but it is
Gotcha.
true.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Well, I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Kendra, for sharing your heart and your wisdom today. And I know the listeners are already feeling the spark of what you'll bring to the Freedom Era Summit. To everyone watching or listening, if this conversation resonated with you and your bestie, make sure to grab your free ticket to the summit and join us this September 26th through 28th. Although by the time you see this, tickets will already be on sale. So you'll get to experience Kendra's full presentation, Self Love, Rewiring Your Mind to Feel Worthy, along with 12 other incredible speakers. And you can find all those details at www.intuitiveencounters.com/Freedom Era Summit. You don't have to memorize that. I'll drop all the links below. And thank you for joining us today with At Intuitive Encounters Conversations. And I'm Jamie Roth, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you, Kendra.
Thank you. I can't wait to see you guys at the summit.
Be there.
All right.